All right. Good evening. How are you tonight? Yeah. All right. My name is Andrew Proctor, and I'm the Executive Director of Literary Arts, and we are delighted to welcome you.
Yes, you can clap. And I'm Olivia Jones-Hall. I'm the Director of Youth Programs at Literary Arts.
Welcome to the 13th annual Verselandia. We are thrilled to have you here at the Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall. For those of you unfamiliar with Literary Arts, we're a nonprofit literary center with a mission to engage readers, support writers, and inspire the next generation with great literature. Our programs include Portland Arts and Lectures, the largest literary lecture series in the country, and we welcome hundreds and hundreds of teens to this concert hall every single year to hear from some of the greatest and most creative minds in the world through the students of the Schnitz program, so many of you are being welcomed back to this hall. We run the Oregon Book Awards and Fellowships program, which supports and promotes Oregon's great writers and independent publishers, and I fully expect that many of these young poets that you see here tonight will end up on the Oregon Book Awards stage receiving the prize for poetry. We also run the Portland Book Festival this year back Saturday, November 2nd, 2024, on this stage, throughout the park blocks and at the museum. And a reminder to everybody here that everybody 17 and under goes free, and anybody with a high school ID also goes free. And we welcome thousands of teens to the Portland Book Festival every single year, and we hope to see each and every one of you join us for that. And that has author events and readings and youth workshops and book fairs, and please join us. It's a book festival for everyone.
Youth Programs reaches 4,000 students a year through a variety of programs, including Writers in the Schools, which is across Portland, Park Rose, Gresham, and Woodburn. Our College Essay Exchange, where we bring volunteers into high schools to work on admissions essays, and of course, students of the Schnitz and Verselandia. This is being recorded for our podcast, The Archive Project, so that's a recording reminder. Please don't beep and boop and blop and stuff. And we also just had a Verselandia broadcast on Sunday. If you'd like to listen to that, you can find it wherever you get your podcasts. The Archive Project has 500,000 listeners annually, so it's pretty dope. You should check it out. You can get involved with literary arts by checking our websites for dozens of events, both free and ticketed for all ages. Folks are welcome to all of our things. And I want you to kind of check us out and join us, especially if you're not otherwise familiar. Verselandia is a collaboration, and has been the whole time, between literary arts and public high school librarians, as well as, yes, woo, librarians. Woo! Thank you. As well as many teachers and parent volunteers. And so we're here tonight really because of the incredible initiative of all of these amazing folks to put on these school slams in their respective schools. There's a list in your program as well of all of their names and their helpers, and many people also helped those helpers. Also, I have a whole team of folks helping me. So the youth programs team, Alberto Swem, April Joseph, and Meg Reedy also made this possible. So thank you so much to the whole youth programs team. Absolutely. And a special thank you to Liz Olafson, who returned tonight just to produce this show. So thank you so much, Liz. So please, again, a big round of applause for all of these amazing community members, and also thanks to tonight's judges who are over here. Please applaud them. I said this earlier, they're gonna get booed, so be nice right now. As well as our timekeepers and mathematicians and other volunteers, and Anise is gonna announce them.
Cool. Verselandia is supported in part by Broadway Books, with a special thanks to our longtime partner, Kim Bissell. Please give it up for Broadway Books. We love them. Thanks to our media sponsors, the OPB, the Oregonian, the Willamette Week, and Finn Partners, with a special thanks to Betsy Henning. And I also want to thank Portland 5, our hosts, and their CEO, Robin Williams, and all the really amazing crew members who are here at the Schnitzer to make us feel welcome and make you feel welcome. Give them a round of applause if you would. And I want to thank all the amazing individuals who are here to support youth tonight. Showing up here tonight is incredibly powerful. The stories from these young people need to be told, and they need to be heard. And our ability to do this depends on you, because their voice matters. So I am so grateful. We turn the house lights up just to see this beautiful hall for just a second. Look at all these amazing people who are here to support our youth. It is really amazing, and we are so glad that you are all here. It's a huge gift for you to show up. So thank you for being here. As Olivia said, we reach 4,000 students every single year. We would love your support if you can, so please consider supporting literary arts and the youth of our city with a gift to the organization. You can do that by donating to literary arts, and there's a QR code in your program, or you can go to our website.
So tonight, 20 students will compete from 11 schools for, glory and also just being amazing. There are prizes. It's not about the points, right? It's about the poetry, but also there are prizes. Those prizes are, for 4th and 5th place, $250. For 3rd place, $500. For 2nd place, $750. And for 1st place, $1,000 US.
Woo!
Yeah. Great.
You're good. I am now thrilled to welcome and introduce our MC for the evening. Anis Majgani is a 2-time champion of the National Poetry Slam. He has also been the winner of the International World Cup Poetry Slam and has been awarded prizes and residencies all over the country. His work has appeared on HBO and NPR and the New York Times. He has performed at the United Nations, among many other places, and you've also seen him in an AT&T ad. I'm not kidding. He is the author of 6 books of poetry, most recently the collection The Tigers, They Let Me, and the libretto for the opera Sanctuaries. We are also honored to have him as a board member of Literary Arts. Please join me in giving a really warm and loud welcome to the Poet Laureate of Oregon and your MC, Anis Majgani.
Such service. Hello. Oh, man. Thanks y'all so much for being here tonight. Suckers. I conned literary arts into throwing on Verselandia to get all you people in here because I have a business pitch for you. Who here likes Amway? That's for the old folks in here. Amway doesn't happen anymore. How is everybody doing tonight? Oh, fantastic, fantastic. So, Olivia mentioned it before, about your phones. Take out your phones right now and double check to make sure that they are in shut up mode. There is nothing worse than like a wonderful poem happening on stage from a person being very vulnerable to all of a sudden hear, I don't know, Flight of the Valkyries suddenly like come warbling through here and the person is like too embarrassed to like take out their phone and shut it off. So you have to listen for the entire ringtone, while they're talking about their dead dog, like don't be that person. Just don't. Also, just don't worry about your phone tonight, I know that's a big ask, but also, it doesn't have to be. You ain't got to be anywhere. You're here. So just be here while you are. I look forward to this night every single year, and I'm so excited that all you folks who are here in this space tonight get to be in this space together, get to be in this space for this event, for these young poets, for this work. It takes a lot. I think all of us know that it takes a lot in any situation, in any day or hour of our life to engage with something that is true and real and vulnerable inside of ourselves. We live inside of a world that is constantly trying to keep us smaller than the sum of our interior spaces. And so it takes a lot to suddenly say something true and real to another person. It takes a little bit more to say something true and real to 1,000 strangers. And it takes a little more to do that when you're in a chapter of your life where you're trying to figure things out about what it means to be a person. particularly right now when the world is so chaotic and so loud. And I'm sure many of the young folks in this city are very uncertain as to what any type of future holds. And so, I'm so grateful and excited that all you folks have come into this space to bear witness to what these 21 young folks are about to share with you. Giving you the gift of a window into their life to see what fears they have, what joys they have, what makes them laugh, what makes them cry. So I'm really excited for your night, that's all to say. How many folks here, by a wave of sound, have been to this or to a poetry slam before? Oh, fantastic. Is by wave of sound, is there anybody in here who's never been to a poetry slam before? Oh, welcome. So I'll do a quick rundown of what this thing is. So it was invented many moons ago in the mid-1980s and was essentially invented as a bar game to trick people into listening to poems. And so basically it was just sort of like a bunch of folks were invited to share poems, and people would come and cheer for their favorite poem and boo their least favorite poem. Hopefully we don't have any booing here. But that's where it started, and this was just people. It wasn't writers or authors or professors or scholars. It was maybe all those people, but it was just people living their lives who had something that they wanted to write down on a piece of paper and then wanted to share it to people. And as this thing grew and spiraled off through the years, it landed at least in one form of the shape that it will take tonight, which means that tonight we will hear from 20 poets in the first round. Technically 21, and I'll get to that in just a moment, but 20 poets in this first round. And in that first round, I will ask the judges to put a number to the work of art that they just heard, because that's what we do with works of art. We put numbers on them. And so I will ask the judges to give a score to whatever poem they hear between 0 and 10, based solely on whether that individual poet, how they respond to that poem that they hear. And then we will take those 5 scores, we will drop the low, we will drop the high, and we will sandwich those 3 scores in the middle together, and that will be the score given to the poet of that poem. And then we'll move on to the next poet. And we'll do that in this first round, and then we will take a 15-minute intermission. As a side note, all poets competing in the first round, don't get up your seats when the lights come up. We want to make sure that we get a group picture of everybody competing tonight. So don't go anywhere at the end of the first round. We'll take a 15-minute intermission, and then folks will come back, and there will be 10 people in the second round. We will hear 10 poems. And at the end of that round, there will be 5 winners that Andrew and Olivia alluded to earlier. Each poet will have 3 minutes and 10 seconds to give their poem. At the end of that 3 minute and 10 seconds, if a poem is still going on, that poem will be docked half a point for every 10 seconds over 3 minutes and 10 seconds. This is hardcore stuff here, hardcore stuff. Before we go further, I wanted to make sure I introduced all the folks that are operating inside of this bubble of a poetry slam tonight, starting with our judges. Please give a big round of applause to our judges right here. These 5 wonderful souls. On the interior of the stage, we have Winta Johannes, who is the executive director. Feel free to clap. Is the executive director of the Albina Vision Trust. Yes! A non-profit organization stewarding the thoughtful reinvention and transformation of the 94-acre historic Lower Albina neighborhood, responsible for overseeing all facets of the organization. Ms. Johannes drives the mission, fundraising, operations, and strategy. Thank you. Next to them, we have Prakruti Bhatt, who is an Emmy-nominated arts and culture video producer reporter at OPB. During her career, Prakruti has mainly covered music, pop culture, and the arts. Her work has appeared in ProPublica, Saveur, KMHD, Hyperallergic, The Times of India, and Mumbai Mirror. In 2022, she earned an MA in journalism with a specialization in arts and culture from Columbia University's Graduate School of Journalism in New York City. When Prakruti is not being picky about selecting just the right songs for her monthly Spotify playlist, she's looking for the next book or video game to immerse herself in. Give it up, please. Next to her, we have Nenea Woods, who is a bibliophile born and raised right here in Portland, Oregon. She has a passion for building community around her love of books while advocating to make the literary space more inclusive. She is the founder and president of Pros Before Bros, a social book club for women of color in Portland, Oregon. Heck yeah. PPB is the largest book club in Oregon with over 1,000 members and the only book club exclusively for women of color. Nenea is also the founder and executive director of the Freedom Festival, the first and only Black book festival in the Pacific Northwest. The Freedom Festival is an annual celebration of Juneteenth, honoring the power of books and literacy and recognizing its role in the fight to end the enslavement of Black people in the U.S. Thank you, Nenea Woods. And next to Nenea, we have Tyler Hobbs. Tyler Hobbs is the president of the Marie Lamfrom Charitable Foundation, a private family foundation that proudly invests in hundreds of Oregon nonprofits annually, including literary arts. Thank you. Tyler spent the earlier part of his career between Southern California and Washington State teaching high school history and English before moving into higher education, fundraising, and nonprofit development. Since moving to Portland in 2020, Tyler and his partner Nate continue to explore the amazing Portland food scene and spend as much time as possible working in the yard, taking neighborhood walks, and visiting family throughout the PNW. Thank you, Tyler. And last but certainly not least, we have Brina Bard, who is an Oregon Book Award-winning cartoonist who writes for kids and kids at heart. Her middle grade graphic novels include Trespassers and Wildfire, and she has self-published a number of comics, including Hey Baby, a comic memoir about becoming a mom. She lives in Portland, Oregon, with her husband and 2 kids. When she's not working on books, Brina enjoys eating tacos, playing the drums, and exploring the outdoors with her family. Please give it up for the judges. Judging in a poetry slam is a selfless task. You may despise these 5 wonderful people here. So please keep these wonderful words about them in your heart over the course of the night, because without them, we would have no slam. Another round of applause for the judges. Thank you. Aiding us tonight, we have our wonderful timekeepers down here. Dory King. And next to her, Mo King. And beside the 2 of them, we have our always math experts, Mary Rodibak and Mona Schreier. Please give it up for all 4 of them. And last but certainly not least, we have Emily Prado, our DJ of the night. What's that? DJ Mommy Miami. Woo! It's a very, very important role for the night. I mean that with all sincerity. All sincerity. I said last but not least, but there's a little extra nugget. So over the course of the night, it will be a wide range of poetry you might hear. It might be poems that make you laugh. It might be poems that make you cry. It might be poems that make you feel uncomfortable. It might be poems that you do not agree with. You do not have to agree with them, you know? There's nothing that says this world is filled with all the things that we all agree with. But what we do have to ask you to do is to still support and cheer and give warm love to every poet that comes onto this stage. Yes. That being said, there may be some really uncomfortable things that happen on stage. Some things that may be triggering, both to you in the audience and to the people performing those poems. So for those of you in the audience, if you find yourself feeling in a space where you cannot sit here and listen, feel free to quietly step outside and then return when you're feeling a bit more centered. And I want all the folks in the audience to be rest assured that for all our poets here on stage, if any of them are feeling in a place where perhaps they stepped a little too close to something that's a little too tender for them, we have two wonderful folks backstage, Mindy and Jackie, professionals of the spirit, professionals of the heart, professionals of the mind, who will be there to aid our young poets in whatever way that they might need in that moment. So yes, a round of applause for Jackie and Mindy. So, now, without further ado, are y'all ready for a poetry slam? Just give me a little bit more juice, just a little bit more. Are y'all ready for a poetry slam? Oh, yes! 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 That's what I'm talking about. We are ready. Almost. Almost. So there's a little thing that we in the slam called a calibration poet. And this poet is going to come up to the stage in just a moment and share a poem from their heart. And all of you are going to cheer just as hard, just as lovingly, just as powerfully as if they were a poet that was competing in the round. And they're going to share that poem, and then the judges are going to give a score, and we're going to cheer again, and then that score will disappear into the ethos. And the purpose of this poet is to kind of break the ice a little bit. The purpose of this poet is to welcome all of us into a poetic ear, a poetic mind, a poetic heart, to get y'all used to cheering, to get y'all used to using your poetic machine, and also to give our judges a chance to get a little bit used to the quick time I'm going to be calling upon them to offer up those scores. So, now without further ado, are y'all ready to get this poetry slam started? Fantastic. And without further ado, I would love to welcome to the stage the first poet of 2024's Verselandia, Casey Higginson.
Diary of a Golfer, March 1st. I've never played golf, but I am a golfer. It's not a metaphor, I just drive a Volkswagen Golf. Golfers, as we're called, are people that like to live on the edge. And I golf fast. I race through every obstacle. I don't even stop at reds. I hate stopping at reds, and when a yellow comes, I will slow down, just to gas it once a red light pops up, and sometimes I even stop on greens and rev my engine so I can smoke out whoever's behind me, and then I turn around and laugh at them while they're choking on my sweet exhaust fumes. I even took off my muffler so I can make this experience even worse for the person behind me. I love golfing. March 2nd. My Volkswagen Golf takes me wherever I need to go. To the store, back home, back to the store because I forgot hamburger helper, back home again. All the while being so incredibly efficient that when rain comes, I believe that it's the angels crying out, begging me to go slower, pleading me to stop my golfing and start my repenting. Yet, their tears only make the road slicker, and therefore quicker. March 4th. I slept for 24 hours straight. Thankfully, I woke up on a Monday. Not sure why everyone hates Mondays. Do they not realize that Jeopardy is on? When else are you gonna watch Jeopardy? Sunday? Guess what, buddy? It's not on. That's the day of rest, the day in which you are allowed to sleep to restore your brain for the next week of Jeopardy. You know what they say? Never drink on an empty stomach, and never Jeopardy on a tired brain. It's true. Both are true. March 5th. Last night, I got every single question correct on Jeopardy. Just kidding, I got every single one wrong. This happens every single day! Except Sundays, of course. I also got into a minor golfing accident this morning. I got sandwiched by two trucks that were also running their reds. This has, of course, taught me a very valuable lesson. Not fast enough, and maybe I should try some dish soap or oil on the tires. Anyway, I'm gonna take my baby into the shop to get her fixed up. March 6th. why? It appears my life of golfing is behind me as my baby's been totaled. What am I gonna do? I can't live without her. I can't live. I'm not ready to hang up my jacket. I'm not ready to stop golfing, and I am not ready to slow down. Well, I hope my baby moves on to greener pastures. And I hope she still stops at green lights.
Judges, let's see those scores. Hold them up high in 3, 2, 1. Hold them up. We have a 7.2, a 7.3, a 7.4, a 7.6, and an 8.1. Applaud the poet. And please keep that applause going and welcome up the first competing poet in the first round. Put your hands together for Ripley Dills.
I hope that one day you scream, that you finally get fed up. So you get up and run around and stomp like you're 6, and you just got a new pair of light-up shoes. I hope your AP biology textbook burns in a kiln. Let's see what a cup looks like, glazed in stress and confusion. I'll save mine for you to pack in your suitcase and drop from that really tall bridge in Costa Rica. Will you send me the video? I want to see how high up the muddy water splashes. I want to know if it scared the crocodiles. I hope you do something truly horrible, like steal someone's cookie, or cut them off, or step on their foot, and you don't say sorry. I hope you take Latin American Lit, and you speak before everyone, even that one kid in the front who speaks to you like you've never heard of feminism. I hope you take up space, that you manspread so much they change the name, so much they can't fit 2 people at the desk, just you and your red sneakers stretching far enough to make up for years of squished thighs and crossed legs. I hope one day you ditch it all, that you walk right out of first period, attendance sheet falling to the floor with your name unmarked, that you skip choir and dance and play rehearsal, that you skip like a kid at recess with a handful of goldfish in her pocket, that you call in sick to work but don't call your friends back. I hope you come home late, backpack heavy with homework, but you go right to sleep. I hope you speak your mind. Stream of words, unfiltered, the jagged rocks and muddy leaves, leaving us all certain that you left no bush to beat around. I hope you stand your ground, say what you know, even if it's not said with a smile. I hope you laugh with lunch line milk in your mouth. Snot and dairy coming out your nose, dripping on your clothes. Throw your head back because something was so funny. You don't care that the proof streaks down your face. I hope you live so loudly that I can hear your laughter, hear you scream from another time zone. Thank you.
Give it up for Ripley Dills. Judges, let's see what your scores are. Please hold them up high in 3, 2, 1. We have a 7.8, a 7.8, a 7.8, an 8.3, and an 8.5 for Ripley Dills. Applaud the poet. Keep that energy going and welcome up to the stage, Lucy Brewster.
Hey, I miss you. I don't know what to do now. There is nowhere I can wash my hands of this. I know heartbreak is bad, but no one told me about losing a friend, and maybe this is my fault, but I really don't think it is. 'Cause your letter is on my shelf, so I can't use my shelf anymore. And my shelf is in my closet, so I can't change my clothes anymore. And my closet is in my room, so I can't go to bed anymore. And my room is in my house, so I can't go home anymore. And my house is in this city, so I just can't be here anymore. There was a last time I hugged you and I didn't know it. Because if I did, I would have squeezed you tighter. I would have held on longer and I would have told you that I loved you, knowing you wouldn't say it back. Why did nobody tell me about losing a friend? Because we talked at that bench, so I can't sit there anymore. And the bench is by the park, so I can't run there anymore. And the park has the pond, so I can't feed the ducks anymore. And the pond is in this city, so I just can't be here anymore. Countless family vacations, you sitting across the dinner table from my father, you laughing with my mother, you seeing trashy movies with my brother, you bled into every part of my being until I couldn't see where I ended and you began. Why did nobody tell me about losing a friend? Because we laughed at that table, so I can't sit there anymore. And the table is in the restaurant, so I can't eat anymore. And the restaurant is by the bookstore, so I can't read anymore. And the bookstore is on the street, so I can't drive anymore. And the street is in this city, so I just can't be here anymore. And the air is thick with the scent of before, and I just can't seem to breathe here anymore. And now even my dog barks when you come to the door, and there is me now, but there was a me before, and I just can't seem to reach her anymore. It seems all I can do is cry on the floor, and I just can't do this anymore. This is not a break up, it's a breakdown, and I can't be in this town anymore. So I'll pack my bags and get out, and I'll burn your letter to the ground, and I guess I won't see you around anymore.
Lucy Brewster. Judges, let's see those scores in 3, 2, and 1. Hold them high. We have a 7.7, an 8.1, an 8.4, an 8.9, and a 9.2 for Lucy Brewster. Applaud the poet. And keep those hands going. And please welcome to the stage, Rin Dennehy.
I am 10 years old, and a bullet is lodged between my index finger and my thumb. The metal reflects moonlight shine onto my fingers. They are clean. Across from me, the old man smiles. He has taught me there are 5 main segments of a rifle, 7 steps to building a cartridge, along with the proper way to clean a copper canister with just the right amount of gunpowder. I no longer know how to make bullets. Those skills passed the same time he did, along with my trust in anyone else to hold a gun. My grandpa hunted deer, not people, but now I'm looking around and realizing that's becoming more rare because our right to bear arms was made before the chamber of senators turned men into muskets, hardly adults who speak in the language of automatics and how much blood they can get on their hands, letting those pistols turn AKs barrel ahead because it's just easier taking stock of dead children instead of triggering legislated needed for the last 100 years where the first symptom of masculinity list MP41 right under the boys' guide on how not to cry. That is to say, it's easier to turn a body into bullet shards than it is to shed tears, to become the just another statistic, just another 300, 500, 1,000 angry young men, just another caller prank, or not the man on the line saying, I have a gun. So when my school got that call in October, fear turns from wraith and poltergeist to sirens blasting our modern day anthem, lock, lights, and out of sight. When lockdown stopped becoming drills and it hits me the nail right on the hammer's head that there's a time and a place to send those I love yous, and maybe I'll never get that chance again. So I'm kneeled under my desk when it happens. 2 boys next to me are giggling like schoolgirls, whispering which chick they'd give back shots. I never learned backfires from bullet shots, and I'm worried now it's too late to find out. Maybe For peace of mind, it's best if I don't know the difference. Maybe I'm the only one worried about this. Maybe being another statistic in an ABC article, the length of this poem is the best that it gets. Sometimes I wonder if the next time my body touches bullet, whether it'll be the memento of a man who loved his craft or the hate of metal shot straight from my heart, whether that be because of the man I choose to love, the gender I don't choose to be, or maybe I'm just unlucky. Maybe I'm just in the wrong place in the wrong time, but is it so much to ask for that the wrong place, the wrong time isn't my own classroom so wrong that I believe I'm more than just some DC lobbyist so wrong that I don't want to be just another statistic so wrong that the gunman I wish to remember is the man who wields bullets to feed his family, not a boy who wields to feed his hate so wrong that I won't play this instrument of a body like a bayonet, that my bullets turn to words instead.
Give it up for Rin Dennehy. Judges, let's see those scores in 3, 2, 1. Hold them high. We have a 7.8, an 8.1, an 8.0, a 9.2, and an 8.8. Applaud the poet. And please get that energy going and welcome up to the stage our fourth poet, Sophia Elizondo Bean.
Girlhood is waking up at 4 a.m. to scream Maisie Peter lyrics at Council Crest. It's the act of throwing my alarm on the floor even though it makes things harder. It's Sesame Donuts when it's just open and the sky is still black, silent parking lots, and a packet of emergency because you're always feeling sick. Girlhood is friendship bracelets and sea salt bagels, the smell of plastic beads in a free afternoon, begging strangers for period products in the bathroom. It's a state of always thinking, hoping, and praying. Nothing you do will encourage someone else's inappropriate actions. The boys who insult you on the playground don't know how to express their interest, and you're the bad guy if that doesn't sit well with you as time progresses. He's telling you you're ugly and asking for your number in the same sentence. It's multitasking. A mix of slander and a so-called win. It's volunteering to paint faces and a refusal to pay, but he knows where you are every Tuesday at 12:30, so maybe it's best to give in today. Just this one time, just this one guy, but how could I be rude? There's not a fly I would hurt, not a person I'd tell no, and the second is something I wish that I could let go. It's starting therapy when your feelings align a little too much with Taylor Swift's, a fact that's alarming but relatable when on the internet. It's creepy notes left on your windshield, immediately discarded because it's a joke. A joke. But a joke isn't scary. It doesn't form goosebumps on your arm each time you leave, a constant swaying of your head between the trees. Should I feel threatened? It's only a compliment. That's what I'm told. I'm so glad they've decided I must no longer worry, but it won't stop me from hurrying inside. It's a man at the tennis courts reminding his friend not to talk to kids. Those hot girls aren't 18, he says. What he doesn't know is I am. I should be okay with this now, even when I'm walking to class. It's seeing that your own refusal isn't accepted, asking for help of a male friend because my opinion isn't accepted, and told, at least it's over, not, are you okay, or I'm sorry that happened on Valentine's Day, but this year I'll stand covered in hearts with my best glitter on, because I was told that it's about love and capitalism, but mostly love. And I'll cry watching two people fall in love, not because I was made to feel uncomfortable, but because I was one of them.
Give it up for Sophia Elizondo Bean. Judges, let's see what you have for the poem. Please lift them up in 3, 2, 1. We have a 7.2, a 7.7, a 7.9, an 8.5, and an 8.8. Please applaud the poet. And keep your applause going and welcome up the 5th poet in the first round, Sammy Shelton.
Mary has never heard me say her real name. She has never heard the sharp sounds of unearthly Vietnamese words roll off my tongue because I cannot say them. She moved to the US 3 months before September, and I still remember how she introduced herself. "Call me Mary," she said, as if she knew that the soft-spoken wavelengths of her native tongue could never be understood by the bitter tones of mine, as if the anguish behind her eyes was imperceptible to the English speaker sitting across the table, as if she knew that I would butcher her appellation with my clumsy voice, as if the girl with family from the Appalachians could never make the same noises as the girl with family from the land of Blue Dragon. 2 days later, and she has said her real name to me 3 times. Its spelling is imprinted in my phone where she typed her name above her number, N-G-O, with a dot below, and under dot it's called C. And I pronounce it Mary. My lips are burnt to ash by the phoenix that is her palate. The cursive that flows from her mouth curls around her name, while my print cripples the tones of the treble clef in which she speaks. Her tongue clicks against her teeth like a reed on a bamboo xylophone to play a note that the 4/4 tempo of my snare drum tongue cannot hit. In broken, slowly spoken words, I try to say her name. My American accent once again chokes on humid tones, the shape smoke makes as it pours from between my lips, incomparable to her abstract intonation, an inflection like I could never hope to achieve. The cadence of her cognomen is cold when it comes from the Bible, as if Western words could never encompass the jade dragon syllables of the Southeast Asian language. My tongue is stiff from Canadian winds that blow southward from frozen French tongues, as if my vocal cords are frigid, unable to comprehend the warm sonnets of a name that is not pronounced Mary. So I apologize for the 3rd time in 2 days. Because my shattered glass vocabulary only makes up shards of what is possible with language. I can only speak as if there are thorns digging into my tongue, while hers presses a rose petal to the roof of her mouth in a parlance I will never be able to achieve. So I'll call her Mary for now. But one day I will learn the language of the land of Blue Dragon, and I will be able to say her name.
Sammy Shelton. Judges, let's see the scores for this poem in 3, 2, 1. Hold them up. We have a 7.8, an 8.5, an 8.9, a 9.1, and a 9.3 for Sammy Shelton. Applaud the poet. Keep your applause going, and please welcome up to the stage, Kiana Woods.
When a woman wakes, aching, forced to tune in to the baby screams whom she shoved out into the stretch marks couldn't stretch any farther, do you think she wants to hear you complain? When a woman strides the street in search of a one-night pick-me-up to feed, when her legs can't close even though her heart pumps gold, will you allow her navel to provoke you? 'Cause me too. Did you know that the woman is the center of the universe? The same reason she is the center of this verse. the most easily exploited and vilified, but you stride as a byproduct of she. Like the sweats off her temple, she could wipe you clean from her world, but instead of kissing the ground we walk on, you holler profanities at me. As I walk, jog, run, sprint, trying not to holler while you trying to holler, cause niggas' egos be so broken that our cause of death be us just saying no. And for what? This thing between my thighs making you come without asking. The male gaze is so strong, we covered the legs of tables because men couldn't handle the wood, and y'all think y'all can handle the goods, and I know my intelligence has got y'all a little intimidated, so let me pause, but this poem is for the voiceless. Like I am a vanguard of women's speech, a revolutionary in the midst of change, and you ain't nothing but a bitch. When the snake prostituted Eve, was to send her pussy or the python? When we bear enough fruit to feed generation after generation after generation? And who the fuck do you think you are to take a bite without conversing? Forcing a woman to soak and scrub the sins off of her skin and watch as they spin down the drain. What a shame that you men can't just respect the very reason you are here. And I hope that after tonight, you look at yourself a little funny. I hope your manhood is stripped, pole like the young girl's innocence most of you have stole. The moment you seen her hips begin to bust out the seams sewn by our fathers, you handpicked every stitch, making it all come undone. I hope she sunk her teeth into your balls like the snakes you think we are. I hope she left you running, limping, clutching your pride, and when you turn back to catch a glimpse of what you've turned into a bitch, she'll shout, "You made me do it." How pervertive and provocative of her. You men make me sick. We are more than your eye candy, and we will not stand to give your mouth sex appeal. So from now on, when women rise, you fall, and when women cry, you crawl. And when women walk, I suggest you get the fuck out the way, because we ain't gonna tell y'all again.
Kiana Woods. Judges, let's see those scores. In 3, 2, 1, hold them up. We have a 9.3, a 9.6, a 9.6, a 9.7, and a 9.7. Kiana Woods. Keep that energy going, and please welcome up the 7th poet in the first round, Carolina Alonso.
Why do I write? Nope. Why do I write? Every word I pronounce, I question its authenticity. Maybe I'm just mimicking every poet before me. Maybe I looked up hundreds of slam poets before this. You have a voice, you have something to say, but I don't even know how to use it. I mean, let's see. I know 8th grade me would probably talk about some societal pet peeve. 9th grade me would write love letters to friends with whom she no longer speaks. 7th grade me would talk about how much she hated her body in Chloe Ting. Elementary school me would be a cliche and talk about being a mixed race baby. You know what gives me comfort is somewhere out there, there's a 50-year-old me, and she is okay, well, hopefully. But I wonder what she could say. I wonder what she could write about. We live a million lives in one body. We are a million people in one body. I am a 3-sport varsity athlete and a poet, a modern-day Troy Bolton, and sometimes the imposter syndrome tries to kill all the parts of me that know I am good enough. I am an athlete if I am nothing else, a writer if I am nothing else, a daughter if I am nothing else, a friend if I am nothing else. On the days where it feels like the nothing else, I pull from the women I know how to be. I am a compilation of every woman I've ever loved. I still write my A's like that girl in 8th grade. I still wear my hair like that junior said she liked it. I still steal my sister's clothes and cook like my grandma, tell stories like my grandpa, and wear gold hoops like my 1st grade teacher. I even took the dreams of every girl I ever thought was going places, tried them on like I was in a Target changing room, even kept a few. I mean, don't they look good on me? You know what gives me comfort is knowing I don't know. I don't know who tomorrow me will get to be, and today me loves all those possibilities because I don't know what I could write about. You know, I probably hate writing really, but I probably couldn't live without documenting the embarrassing experience it means to be a human in 15 and soon 16 and maybe even 50. All we want is a witness to our lives, but I write the things I want no one to be witness to, the things that plague the hours between 11 p.m. and 2:30. I picked up a pen in 2020. I needed a witness to my pandemic, 6th grade life. I exhausted my hand through 8th grade. I needed a witness to the T in my slightly closeted sexuality and the friendships that twisted reality. I've left my journal empty for months at a time, letting everything stew in my mind before inevitably it had to be put somewhere. I've written 5 entries 1 week and still not felt the beautiful, airy, empty of a mind heard and inner desires witnessed, if only by a pen and a page. I write out every sin within myself and in it live out the sin of narcissism because there's no bigger purpose to my writing besides my ease mind. Do I have no bigger purpose besides my stomach does somersaults when I'm asked what I'm majoring. I said earlier I find comfort in the unknown, but I lied because nothing comforting about a deadline that will decide how I spend my days and fill the time before I die, but at least I will have written it all out. So yeah, that's why I write.
Carolina Alonso! Applaud the poet! And judges, let's see your scores. Hold them up. 3, 2, 1. What do we have? We have an 8.4, an 8.6, an 8.7, an 8.9, and a 9.0 for Carolina. Applaud the poet. And please welcome up to the stage, Amelia Cafiso.
Humans love things. They give things for birthdays, anniversaries, moving in, moving out, marriage, divorce, births, deaths, and everything in between. Humans use things to assign identity to themselves, and when they can't bear to part with them, they put them in car trunks, boxes under the bed, their childhood bedroom, spaces where the thing is still theirs, but out of sight. Humans need certain things: toothpaste, shoes, doorknobs. But when was the last time a human looked at all 6 seasons of I Love Lucy on VHS tape and thought, this will come in handy? Humans clean things, and when they're too tired to do so, they ask other humans to clean the things in exchange for little green things that will get more things. Humans eat things. If they don't eat things, they become a thing for things to eat. Some things are sweet, some things are not. Some make humans throw up other things. Humans hate things. They will argue with each other over the hated thing and throw things and slam things. Here's the thing. Humans like to do their own thing, even when that means doing the wrong thing. Humans love things. They leave them at each other's graves and count them until they fall asleep and write 1,000-page books on them. Humans can become a thing. And when they leave each other, it's a whole thing. Everything has a place in this thing, but I'm still trying to find my thing. Everyone's telling me it's just one of those things you're supposed to know, like how good things come to those who wait, and there's no such thing as a stupid question, but I'm lost. Everyone's telling me that I'm this bright young thing, but at the ripe old age of 17, I'm just getting into the swing of things. You could tell me a thing or two about a thing or two, but I still wouldn't know what the thing to do. Humans love, I love things, but maybe it's just one of those things. Thank you.
Amelia Cafiso. Judges, let's see those scores. Hold them up. high in 3, 2, 1. We have a 7.5, an 8.3, an 8.5, an 8.7, and a 9.2. Applaud the poet. Keep your applause going and welcome up to the stage, Princess Fletcher.
Okay, do you guys like my fit? You know, life. Life where I reside and strive, where I question home in my high life. You know, the decisions I made leading up to now as I question and scream pro-life. But what am I in it for? What does the significance hold? What is the purpose? The treasure this world carries, this life, its beauty, you know, constantly spreading, continually alive. Because I've cried, I've laughed, and I've danced in all its glory. But you know, one last time I'll cry out, hoping someone's listening, but not gleefully because I'm not glistening and my voice is quivering because it's tiring and dragging, just weighing me down. Life where I should reside is too far for my reach, too far for me to wish it back to me because I'm lifed out. And as it's starting and sounding, and you know, the worthiness that I say is worth it is reclining, to be left with yourself, to have lost all control, to be strong and it's seen, to know your strength alone is weak, to know your light is dimmed. But you know, you're good at being good, so I feel for you. I feel for you as your pain radiates, because, you know, maybe you just haven't ate. And I feel for you because I know you want me to. Third person's easy, you know, but listen in, you know, take it all in. There's something I've loved to dream, something I would find and have as mine. You know, a love and full heart aligned with that of the stars in their prime, lighting up the dark blue sky as I smile, but here I am, stuck in songs along the lines of evergreen, you didn't deserve me. Where my broken heart lies and what my ear finds comfort in. For my sorrow has now been wrapped in the warmth engulfing me as I myself cry, as the tears rolls down one after the other just to be gone, you know. Redesigned with a convincing smile in its place when I'm asked, are you okay? Realigned to a now covered masterpiece. You know, one that is not blind to the boulder I bind to a little girl's weak shoulders. And now she's tired, and I'll say I'm tired too. Tired from looking through the blur which has burned, paralyzed, better off alone, scared. Scared to open my lips, utter this word, please save me from my mind, this sword, Lord. I'm my mother's blood, my brother's word, my sister's love, and my father's work. But truthfully I say, this love and full heart is not a promise made to me, my word. And as it's reoccurred to me, this dream is far out of my please reach. So help me, God. Amen.
Princess Fletcher! Judges, let's see those scores held high in 3, 2, 1. And up we have a 7.4, a 7.8, a 7.9, an 8.0, and an 8.2. Applaud the poet! And please keep that energy going. Welcome up to the stage, Nate Loberbaum.
You know, I've never been very funny, So I made this poem to be a little punny. To get started, I put the elephant in the trunk. I went past the band room, drummed up some players, a foul ball flew over my head, so I ducked. See, these jokes are quite perfect. They have many layers. I then played some cards and went over a bridge. When I hit the water, I licked a quid, used it to pay for some tar for my boat, and treated myself to some root beer to float. I rode through some eggs and bored through my class, read a table of legs as I cleared up the glass. Though a dog's life is rough and roosters are cocky, my rocks are tough and still beer makes you stocky.
Nate Loberbaum, judges, hold those scores up in 3, 2, 1. We have a 7.4, a 7.5, a 7.5, a 7.5, and a 7.8. Applaud the poet. And please welcome up to the stage the 11th poet in the first round, Jaslyn Davis.
I can't breathe. I can't understand what I am. What am I feeling? What am I supposed to do? Daddy, I miss you. The way your soft skin would touch mine. I miss when we would eat together and reminisce about the good times before all I heard was you. You was on the street selling dope. I'm mad that I lost you to hustling. I'm sad you couldn't find that light. I'm sorry I couldn't reignite it. Daddy, I miss the you I never got to meet. I'll never forget, I'd wait for you day and night to walk in that damn door, but you never did. Grandma tell me, baby, please come to bed. But I'd repeat over and over, but I'm waiting for daddy to come home, but you never came. But in 2013, you tried to change. You came to all my basketball games. You brought me McDonald's and loved me so, so much. But then you fell back into drugs. It was too good of a deal to let it go. But my daddy, he just loved that adrenaline rush. He had to live life a little too much on the wild side. Left me with grandma, but would call. I hated my daddy until the day I got that call. Not knowing what to do, not knowing what to say. Your dad is in the hospital, he will not make it, and they can't fix it. I took a deep breath, acted like I didn't care, so what, he's dying, until I see my daddy laying there in that bed silent. And I had only seen him that silent one other time, and that was when he had been stabbed in the heart. I thought then he was dying, so I cried over my daddy's body for one last time, praying and screaming he could hear me. Daddy, can you hear me? I want to touch your tattoos one last time. I want to hug you one more time. I want you to tell me you love me one last time. January 3rd, 2023, the day I lost you. Daddy, I still can't sleep, but Daddy, I'll keep being me. I'll keep loving people because my wounds will stop bleeding and my scars will show all of my healing. I love you, Daddy, and we're both still healing. Thank you.
Give it up for Jaslyn Davis. Judges, let's see what scores you have in 3, 2, 1. We have an 8.8, a 9.0, a 9.2, a 9.3, and a 9.4 for Jaslyn Davis. Applaud the poet. And put your hands together. Welcome up to the stage, Ava Anderson.
He follows her with a stumble, a limp-like saunter, and an uncadenced sway. What's your name, what's your name, what's your name, little girl? He repeats, he repeats, he repeats. In mumbles and pleas, he's insisting, what's your name, what's your name, what's your name, sweet thing? In falsity they meet, she replies, but he doesn't retreat, approaching hastily, a scramble for her keys, one click in quickly, ignore the burning red of her thighs on the leather summer seats, and his cyanide sneer, contradicting drear, what's your name, what's your name, what's your name? It's just a name, little girl. As she backs out, her stomach furls. A guilty feeling accompanied by words repeating, don't assume the worst. It's just a name, not an open door. She's egotistical for assuming more. Not all men want more than the name of a sweet, sweet little girl. And not all men are distracted by the shoulders of the 13-year-old they teach. Not all men slip drugs into drinks or yell at you on the street, making middle schoolers compare stories of the first time they were catcalled. And little girls feel guilty for not getting the attention they're supposed to yearn for. Not all men have intentions to hide. Some of them are really nice guys. Don't generalize. Give them a chance. You don't know in advance if their intentions are deceitful. Not all men are lethal. Who knows, you might like it. Don't knock it till you try it. Don't resist. Admit it. You like the attention. But don't mention you'd rather date a girl, because then not all men will try to fix her. You tell her not all men, but be wary because some of them, but feel guilty because you don't know this one. Your not all men has been reverberating, bouncing off the corners of her skeleton, warm, wet, nauseous dread traveling up into her head for a long time, seeping into the crevices of her mind like warm, sweet honey in a hive. But don't worry, her anger isn't buzzing like those bees, because that's not ladylike, not pristine, not pretty, not agreeable, not soft and clean. Have you noticed your Etch-a-Sketch mold resembles infancy? It's a screeching symphony of contradicting melodies. Act like a girl, but like a girl was never what you wanted to be. But don't worry, she's not angry, because that's not ladylike, not pretty. Don't worry, I'm not angry anymore. Apathy set in more than before. Not all men is true enough. There is no calling bluff, but wariness is reasonable. And if you don't think so, then let's play a game of Russian roulette. Not all cases hold a bullet, but some of them do, and it's your fault if you get shot too. So wouldn't you be a lil wary?
Ava Anderson, applaud the poet. And judges, let's see what you have for that poem. In 3, 2, and 1, we have an 8.5, an 8.5, an 8.7, an 8.7, and an 8.7. Applaud the poet. And please keep that applause going. Welcome up to the stage, Priscilla James.
Traffic lights. Green means go. Green, accomplishment or the start of something new. All systems go. Yellow, a loss of momentum created by adversity and doubt. Caution, slow down. Red, failure, rejection, disappointment. Stop, start over. Traffic lights. A rose is what you gave me. A soft, safe texture, unlike the grasp of your hands on my thigh. Do you listen to the deep red or bright green? No, you were on yellow, kissing me at a low pace, ready to stop at any moment. Time. Maybe that's what you need. I'll give you time to see the mistake. 2 years, not a change in sight, just a change in the clothes. After you make me feel so icked by your touch, the thought makes me want to scratch. Scratch the skin off my body, scratch this feeling of discomfort. Scratch your touch out my mind. A blurry plastic smile. If only I could have seen through it sooner. Maybe it was my clothing. Do pajama pants and a stained white tee seem seductive to you? Maybe it was the innocence. Did you crave it? Did you love corrupting it? Was I covered in green? No, stop, red. A hotel room, a locked door, a bed. Was that so tempting to you? Did you have to lay me down? Was the perfect night of my first concert meant to be the first of other objectives as well? A girlfriend, a beautiful girl, your age. Why would you do this to her? Why is she still with you? What have you done to make her stay? A daughter, she's my age, alone, scared. Why is her mom staying quiet? Always being told, stay safe, use protection. How do I protect myself from this? How can I explain to my mother that he did these things? How can I explain while my mother has found a safe place, it puts me in danger? Growing up, being told, speak up, is not how it's done. It's not easy. While this does not only affect us, it affects my mother, my protection. Traffic lights are there to keep you safe. They're there to keep you on the right path, to keep you aware of the consequences of your movement. Why don't you listen to them? Do they not apply to you? How were you given a license without the laws that come with it? Why don't you have to go by the same rules as anyone else? What is so special about you? Silence. Duct tape on my mouth, hands on my neck, rocks on my stomach, pain in my throat. Traffic lights, green, yellow, red. It's the pattern. You changed it. You saw yellow acting as if it was green. Go, go, go is what your mind was saying. Not a thought of the ticket you'd receive. Did you ever receive that ticket? Or was it an error in the system? You believe it was the light's mistake, but if only the camera had caught you, would you be sorry? Or would it still be the light's issue? Was it my fault?
Priscilla James! Judges, let's see what you have for that poem. Hold them up in 3, 2, 1. We have a 7.6, a 7.9, an 8.2, an 8.4, and an 8.7. Applaud the poet! Keep that applause going and welcome up to the stage the 14th poet in the first round, Madison Eastland.
The world will not stop despite the fact that you have not slept properly in a week and a half due to nightmares. You keep seeing his face in front of yours all distorted and bloated, and it doesn't look like him, but you know it's him because of his smile, because his soul was so radiant. The world will not stop for you to grieve. You will return to class 4 days later and get yelled at about a missing bio assignment as you cut out paper chromosomes and try not to break down. You will learn quickly that Washington does not clean up crash sites well. The week after he died, we made the 2-hour drive up to where it happened, with a white cross strapped to the top of our car. Black letters in the shape of his name contrast against it. Leonilo. After the long trek, you will stand and stare at his front bumper left to rot on the side of I-5. You cannot help but wonder if he suffered LUMAPAS. If the impact of his seat jerking forward as the airbag deployed caused his ribs to shatter, if a piece of what was intended to protect his lungs and his heart was the very thing that killed him, or if it was simply the force that crushed his internal organs. Maybe both. I carry this blanket of guilt with me. The day before it happened, I told my mother I hate God. I don't believe in God, but after I found out, I can't swallow this lump that forms in my throat. I keep thinking maybe there is a God and maybe he hates me and maybe he's punishing me. The universe could not be so cruel without some malevolent force. Right? Right? Thank you.
Madison Eastland, applaud the poet. Judges, let's see what you have for us and that poem. Hold your scores up in 3, 2, 1. We have an 8.5, an 8.7, an 8.8, a 9.2, and a 9.3. Applaud the poet. And please welcome up to the stage your 15th poet, Iris Gray.
Last month, on a counter in a coffee shop, a poster appeared where, posed in print, stood a boy who I grew up with. I hadn't seen him in years, and this inky image of him bled into the memory of who I had known, battling his peach-soft complexion with sharp angles and years of tension, his callow limbs now spread wide as he danced toward manhood. There is good in growing, but there is loss in the softness that is misplaced. This is what I saw when I studied his face, a question. How do we forget the pace of our beating hearts, the persistence of our curiosity as it weaves through the parts that we had not yet learned not to love? When I was 5, the colossal thing on my mind was how fast and how far can I run? How much longer can I revel in the sleepy light of this day before it is done, singing, Mama, don't make me come inside yet, because if I raise my hand to the sun, I can pass out light and warmth before I leave. Just one more round of make-believe. When do we stop believing that in this world we are boundless? When do we learn to look in the mirror and see the absence of joy? When does imagining become a weapon of regret instead of a toy? And if looking at this boy on this poster because his body has done what all bodies do, I cannot recognize him, will he too not recognize me? With my skybound limbs and my whitened hips, have my lips forgotten to speak softly? Have I lost my softness? Not lost, because though conformity is taught, I sought out the restrictions and beliefs that became a battalion of brutality against the body of a little girl. So if I have lost my softness, then I am not innocent in that deprivation. I must crawl on my hands and knees to mend the mutilation of my spirit. If there is goodness in growth, then it will be found in my return to the girl who noticed the canyons carved by earthworms, the dew dancing on the lawn, the girl who for 6 years made Valentines for everyone, hand-drawn, the girl who would for every ounce that I am not proud of myself be proud of me. So I want to spend the rest of my life making sure she's got a reason to be, place my actions in the absence of regret, protect and project that light I once found so easily as it weaves through the parts that I will learn to love again. I will practice mercy and bind myself to it so that I can remind my body to be kind to my grown self, to all of us, the grown children who are simply learning and unlearning and learning again. I will not only find, but create in all of my movements inventions of gratitude to defeat those apathetic ruts, create this necessary softness, the infectious goodness of growing up.
Give it up for Iris Gray. Judges, let's see what you have for us. Hold those scores up in 3, 2, 1. We have a 7.9, an 8.7, an 8.8, an 8.8, and a 9.1 for Iris Gray. Applaud the poet. We're about to step into the last 5 poets of the first round, starting with Lily Love.
Dear Mom, I wrote this poem for you not just to thank you, but to hear you, see you, feel with you, feel for you. The things a mother does for a daughter, but what a daughter should also do for a mother, a sister for a sister, because we are all women breathing the same toxic air that feeds the same putrid thoughts created by people we'd really rather not think twice about, into the crevices of our brains so deep, not even the words of this poem will be enough to carve out. Our heart beats to the rhythm of old men's hate, infusing your bloodstreams with "I am not enough," but the gray hairs at the front of your head, you've tried to dye away, tuck away, but the translucency of the strands shine the knowledge and beauty your mind holds to the world like gates to heaven. I'll help you style your hair like you ask if it makes the flame of beauty you yearn for spark. I'll curl your hair for you, but the heat of the iron is not going to burn the years away. You are styling your hair. Your hair is not styling you, Mom. The body that you think doesn't look right in your new clothes, the one whose reflection you stare at while turned to the side, made your two pride and joys. In it, I grew from the size of a pea to a girl writing a poem for you. You ask me what skincare products I use. You crave to smooth every bump and memory. But your skin is the walls and foundation to your body's home. Its wrinkles hold the memory of every smile, every frown, like banged up paint from your children running, giggling around your house. The imperfections are something to cherish, something to hold on to as your most prized possession, not wish away like you would your problems. Your beautiful life is not an obstacle, Mom. It only contains them. If you lost every memory, every photo, the marks and bumps are physical evidence that you lived. And you lived for me to live. You gifted me something immeasurable, the gift of unconditional love when conditions were hard to love. So give yourself the same grace. Take a deep breath of air. Show the same care, because really, there isn't anything deadly about some simple, beautiful gray hair. Dear Mom, I love you.
Give it up for Lily Love. Judges, let's see what you have for us. In 3, 2, 1, we have a 7.9, an 8.1, an 8.3, an 8.4, and an 8.5. Applaud the poet, Lily Love. Keep that applause going. Welcome up to the stage, Frankie Diller-Beersley.
I am detached, defensive, like I'm hanging onto my own body by a red string, the rest of me untethered. I have had the same godforsaken low monotone since kindergarten, and it is mumbling and unladylike, and it is not right, or so I'm told. I am 6, wearing my pink sweater that says, "Are you kidding me right meow?" across the front, when I'm taken by my shoulders and told, "You just need to act. Act normal, act nice, ask questions, share your toys. Don't arrange all your bark chips in a little pile during recess. If you're friendly, then maybe the other kids will like you. You just need to act." I get cast in Seussical the Musical. And pretending to be someone else is exhausting. The rehearsals, the costumes, the vocal exercises. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. But pretending to be myself is exhausting because the curtain falls on the play and the ushers sweep the aisles away, but I can't turn the spotlight off myself. I am in bed with the covers tucked over my eyes and no one is watching, but I still can't breathe. I am 13, making my voice swell higher and higher in online school until my throat hurts, just so everyone hears my sincerity and my, "Hi, how are you? Thank you, goodbye. No monotone here. Goodbye." There's a line I have to draw. I sever myself. I have to, because if I'm not here, I am not the one getting hurt. So at the end of my life, when I've acted enough that I have friends and a husband and 2 boring children, I can spring out of my deathbed and go, fooled you, you didn't get me, I win. I lose, and it is hard to lose people when I am not even there. I'll get off the stage and you'll tell me that I did a good job, that I delivered my lines well, used my voice. Or maybe you won't. Maybe the red string will break. Maybe the act will end. Maybe I'll never be rejoined like oil and water. Maybe you will clap. Maybe I will connect. And it will be the greatest lie of all. Thank you.
Frankie Diller Beersley! Judges! Let's see those scores in 3, 2, 1. Hold them up. We have an 8.9, a 9.0, a 9.1, a 9.2, and a 9.2 for Frankie Diller Beersley. Applaud the poet. And keep that applause going. Welcome up to the stage, Eliza Raymond.
The day I was magic, I stepped out of our Toyota and my mother asked me what I thought she had found. I thought for a second, but I knew my answer. A hummingbird nest. And there it was, sitting in a tree in our garden, just like I had known. And I was magic. The week I was magic, I wrote a letter, tossed a handful of words onto a scrap of paper I'd cut out, and dropped it into the little house on the porch. The cardboard box was painted white, windows cut from craft scissors, and furniture made of popsicle sticks. The sign on the door said "Fairies Welcome." And during that week I was magic, new notes appeared with a bead, an earring, a teacup, and that was magic. The minute I was magic was years later. The hummingbirds grown up and the fairies moved out. Praying every night, I would stop needing to lie when my friends dared me to tell them who I liked. But fallen angels and naive children alike, some prayers go unanswered. So I found myself whispering to a circle of friends on a summer Tuesday why I never had a good answer in Truth or Dare. And that was magic. But I wasn't magic on Halloween, my Monster High costume sagging under the weight of the rain, watching her stagger home, rum and whiskey and whatever else she could find clouding her breath. I wasn't magic when, miles away, he stepped up to the windowsill, rotting wood and a sky full of stars, and jumped, fell into the waiting arms of the earth, and cried even more bitterly when it would not take him. I was not magic. The magic torn out of me with thumbtacks and safety pins, dancing upwards on the smoke that curled from her breath, while the cigarette burned so low her fingers were as red as her lips. I was not magic. But maybe I was just a child when my knees were skinned and a mile was far and my hair hung past my shoulders and I was young. Maybe I am not magic. But maybe I am just 16 when my knuckles are bruised and I walk a mile every day and I'm smart enough to know that hair can look like anything, but still dumb enough to dye it red sometimes, and my friends are hurting, but so are we all because we are still young. And I am not magic. But maybe, if I take out the cardboard box, dust off the furniture, and leave a note, the magic will come back. Thank you.
Give it up for Eliza Raymond. Judges, let's see what you have in 3, 2, 1. We have an 8.1, an 8.4, an 8.4, an 8.5, and an 8.5 for Eliza Raymond. Applaud the poet. And please, audience, keep that applause going and welcome up to the stage, Io Dinnerline Manson.
I left the window open and maybe the stove on. My clock is an hour behind, and all my texts are left unread. Small flies buzz above the bowls as I watch my ice melt. When did blood turn to water? When did the connection from palm to skin soften? Stale bread and warm whiskey sits in the bottom of my stomach. I'm feeding my hunger, finding my anger. When I stomp, I still scare myself with the sound. A little girl, a prisoner bound. I think maybe we begin to ripen, rot the moment we ripen. We bleed the most while we taste the sweetest. I love like my mother, endlessly, in a chaotic manner. She showed me where to let my tears fall and where they should hide. For a daughter, a mother, a girl should choose to abide. They gaped upon me with their mouths as ravening as a roaring lion. I poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax, it is melted in the midst of my bowels. I don't think we ever really knew how to love each other. She was told to teach, not to give. A mother can cradle with a tenderness only she holds, or she can throw you onto your shaking little legs and teach you to cradle the next instead. I now find myself surrounded by the gaping sea, rocking my own boat steady. My room feels as though it is spinning, as though the walls are falling. The ceiling asks if I am ready before she begins to crumble. I hold it, I let it. My hands fumble, hoping, waiting to hear my mother call. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaveth to my jaws. And thou hast brought me to the dust of death, for dogs have compassed me, and the assembly of the wicked have pierced my hands and feet. Sometimes I wonder if my remorse is rotten too. She's trying too. My father's eyes scold our similarities as I try to scrape them from my surface. She thinks they're all her flaws, he thinks so too, yet both their blood still soaks my paws. My father taught me to hold my bone, to hold strong jaws, to never check my phone. He is the hero and the villain, but my mother's screams will always pull her center stage. He runs through like a rabbit in a pack, igniting each dog's hungry eyes, hiding in the bushes as they brawl, waiting for one to fall, for he can do no wrong from out of sight, right? They are happy, they told me so. They are good to me, they told me so. A good dog should never want to bite, they told me so.
Io Dinnerline Manson, applaud the poet. Judges, let's see those scores. Hold them high in 3, 2, 1. We have an 8.1, an 8.2, an 8.2, an 8.2, and an 8.4. Applaud the poet. And please welcome up to the stage the last poet in the first round, Meriwether Stewart.
I am 13. No, really. I know if you look at my ID, it will say I am 18 and a half, but I am 13. I'm 13. No, really, look at how I dress. These bright, vibrant colors that clash with the boring atmosphere that I am subjected to every day. Who would dress this way other than a child? I'm 13. I play with Barbie dolls. I have posters up in my room of all sorts of colorful, bright characters. I look around in the world and I see it as a beautiful, wonderful place. I see someone pass by me in the street and I believe that they are good. So I'm 13, right? I mean, I'm immature. I'm told by so many people that I am immature. So I must be 13. I must be a child, but I am not a child. I am 18. I am an adult. I have a job. I pay taxes. I have sex, or at least I want to. I'm 18. I can vote. I can live on my own. I can buy lottery tickets. I'm an adult. I'm 18. I'm 18 and I dress like this. I'm 18 and I believe that the world is a good place. I'm 18 And I am mature because I am mature enough to know I don't have to pretend. I don't have to pretend to be mature. I don't have to pretend to be normal. I don't have to pretend to not be me because I am me. And me is colorful and happy and joyous and whimsical. Being me does not stop when I turn 18. It does not stop at a certain age. I am 18. I am an adult. And I am exactly the way that I want to be. And if you have a problem with it, perhaps it is you who is immature, not me. Thank you.
Meriwether Stewart, give it up for the poet. Judges, one more score before the intermission. Please lift them up. 3, 2, 1. We have an 8.3, an 8.5, 8.7, an 8.8, and a 9.0 for Meriwether Stewart. Applaud the poet. And give it up for every poet that you heard in the first round tonight. We're gonna take a 15-minute intermission. Poets, stay in your seats for just one moment. Audience, we'll see you in 15.
Baby, you can find me under the lights, diamonds under my eyes.
Y'all ready for round 2? Oh, that was so lovely to hear. Music to my ears. We are doing this. Yeah. Make sure your phones are set back to being gentle. And all right, I'm gonna share with everybody the 10 poets that you will hear this evening, and you will hear from them in this order: Meriwether Stewart, Madison Eastland, Lucy Brewster, Sammy Shelton, Amelia Cafiso, Frankie Diller Beersley, Iris Gray, Jaslyn Davis, Kiana Woods, and Ava Anderson. Please applaud all the poets that you've heard so far. Judges, are you ready? All right, let's jump into this. Please welcome back to the stage the first poet of the second round, Meriwether Stewart.
Boys don't wear makeup. You look at that comment surprised, then offended. Who is this random commenter to decide what boys can and cannot wear? Have they ever met an actor? Have they ever met a goth? Have they ever met a clown? Then you think for a moment. You know, you don't exactly look like a boy. Your pronouns are in your bio, but they had to go out of their way to find them. Maybe this is some weird way of them trying to help you to try and pass better. Maybe don't wear makeup. It's a bit outdated, but you can kind of see it. You respond, I'm not a boy. Because it's true, you aren't a boy. You aren't a girl either. You aren't exactly in between, you aren't neither. You're everything all at once, and yet nothing at the same time. God's one mistake when he was making you in his image was he accidentally made you in about 50 of his images. So, you know, there's a bit of confusion there. I mean, you've always believed in a loving God, one that put you on this earth for a purpose. Perhaps this is that purpose, to simply be yourself, to express yourself in your own special way, to dress up as a clown and go to parades, to write poems, try to write a book, and end up writing just stories about old men kissing. To love men, women, in between, neither, both, inside, outside, who cares? And to love your gender fluid identity. One moment you're more of a man, the next you're a girl, in the same way an old sailor would call their boat a girl. You're a dude the way you call your friends dude. No matter how you pronounce the word GIF, it's a moving picture. And no matter how you identify, you are a human. You're an amazing, wonderful, beautiful human. Your comment gets a reply. So, what are you then? You don't even hesitate with your response. Well, whatever I am, if you're in love with me, that makes you gay.
Give it up for Meriwether Stewart! And keep that applause going, welcoming back up to the stage, Madison Eastland. It's been a long week, y'all. One moment, Madison. Let's hear those scores for Meriwether. Judges, hold them up high. We have an 8.4, an 8.5, an 8.6, an 8.8, and an 8.8 for Meriwether. Thank you, audience, for keeping me honest. And please, once again, welcome to the stage, Madison Eastland.
Somewhere there is a twisted version of Romeo and Juliet, where Romeo is the only one to die and Juliet is left to think and think and think and grieve. Her grief as deep as the ocean, her love for Romeo, an outreach towards the sky, the horizon. What could have been? Was it maybe just a teenage fling? Was it more? These questions to which we will never know the answers to, so now I will sit and think and think and grieve. I will grieve for what could have been, for the sky, for the ocean. I will grieve for Romeo, for Juliet, for the horizon. The love they shared goes down in history, but what about those whose love, whose tragedy does not get written about? What will be remembered of them? I don't know. I will never know, so I will write about as much love as I can. I will write until my hands no longer work. I will write in hopes that maybe their love will be shared. Wednesday, April 26th, 2023. There's an Easter lily that sits on my front porch. My sister's first boyfriend gave it to my mother one spring evening. A few weeks later, he would be in a fatal car crash. There's a grief that hangs heavy in my home, the kind that brings with it silence, gut-wrenching silence when you don't know how to comfort your older sister as she breaks down in front of you. When you yourself cannot comprehend why, when the plans you had for that Thursday fall apart, when the crash happened at 12:11 a.m. and the call failed at 12:16, when the articles lied, painting the murderer as the victim. The Beaverton man crashed his Honda Civic into the back of the semi-truck. His seatbelt was supposedly not buckled. When the only article to not lie was the only one without his name in it. The Honda Civic was stalled in the middle lane. The driver was on the phone with emergency services as the crash occurred. There's an Easter lily on my front porch. There's flowers hanging to dry in my sister's rooms. There's squishmallows and there's socks and shoes and memories. And a movie left unfinished. A movie that we will never finish. There's an Easter lily on my front porch. Thank you.
Give it up for Madison Eastland. Judges, let's see those scores in 3, 2, 1. We have an 8.9, a 9.3, a 9.4, a 9.5, and a 9.5. Applaud the poet. And keep that applause going. Please welcome back up to the stage, Lucy Brewster.
Dear Mom, I'll miss you a lot. In a year from now, I'll be off, but Mom, I don't know what I want, but I'm scared the world will pull me apart. But I'm so excited to wake up when I want and to ruin all the furniture that I just bought and to leave my clothes scattered on the floor and to never shut the bathroom door. Mom, who will make me dinner when I'm gone? And who will let me complain that it's been on the stove for too long? And who will walk me to the park but make me come home when it gets too dark? But I'm so excited to stay up too late and to not have to finish all the food on my plate and to never clean another litter box and to never wear matching socks. But Mom, what if I can't sleep in my new bed and I'm surrounded by books that I've never read? And what if the trees don't stay green all year long? And what if you forget me when I'm gone? And Mom, I'm so excited to start brand new, but who will tell me what to do? Who will know when I'm telling the truth? And who will embarrass me at the store? And who will make me do my chores? Because nobody will tell me that I'm not enough, because nobody will care that much. But Mom, I'm so excited to buy junk food at the store and to never fold my clothes in drawers and to invite over whoever I want and to pretend that I'm nonchalant. But Mom, will you be okay when I'm gone? Who will fight with you in the front lawn? Will you miss me slamming the door and spilling paint all over my bedroom floor? Will you miss my music shaking the walls? Will the silence feel too strong? But Mom, I'm so excited to have a car and to go where I want, no matter how far, and to track mud all over the floor and to not be a kid anymore. But Mom, who will worry when I'm out too long? And who will I yell at till my lungs become raw? And who will I fight with in the car? And who will love me so much that it will leave me scarred? Because nobody will tell me that I'm too much, because nobody will care enough. And Mom, what if I lose it again and I'm not sure who to call? Yes, nobody will shout at me, but what if they don't care at all? And I can't wait to wipe myself clean of all that I've ever been, to start brand new and start again. I'll dye my hair, I'll change my clothes, and nobody will ever know who I am and who I've been. But Mom, I don't want to forget. Yes, nothing is ever gonna be the same and nothing is broken, but I want to change. This life is good. It's all I've ever known. But Mom, I want a life of my own.
Lucy Brewster! Judges, let's see what you have for that poem. Hold them high in 3, 2, 1. We have an 8.6, a 9.0, a 9.1, a 9.2, and a 9.3 for Lucy Brewster. Applaud the poet. Keep that applaud going, and welcome back up to the stage, Sammy Shelton.
They say it's not a practical subject. How will you make money if you study history? Go be something useful, like a doctor or a lawyer. They tell the students it's a waste of time to study history. There's a reason standardized testing only covers math and English, after all. I'm tempted to remind them that there's also a reason America no longer ranks in the top 10 when it comes to education. You want to study history, right? What do you plan to do with your degree? It baffles me that they do not understand what history means. History is holding the stars in your hands, the exoskeletons of marine protozoa that make up the sands of Okinawa Beach. It is reading a language that no living person speaks, buried on a tablet for 5,000 years, words waiting to curl off the tip of a tongue once again, because no language is ever truly dead. History makes mountains into rivers and valleys into shores. It makes ancient empires look like nothing more than specks on the timeline, insignificant in the face of the horseshoe crab who existed for 400,000 millennia before them. It makes castles 1,000 years old crumble while the ghosts in its portraits survive until there is nothing left standing but the hill upon which it was built, because all things fall to history. Do you understand what history means? It is eyes that carry countries, a Pangea of pupils and irises. It is water that flows over land mass like fairy footprints on flower petals and veins of blood under skin. It is the Great Basin bristlecone pine, which has spent 5,000 years reaching towards sky like humans, building the Tower of Babel till their tongues were twisted by God. It is the dusting of pollen on the rose garden grass, like freckles dusted across a small child's cheeks. It is the bark of the oak tree and ripples in the flathead lake that reflect wrinkles on the foreheads of our ancestors. It is a woolly mammoth whose tusks tell its story like the rings on a tree tell its age. History is humanity. And if you still don't understand that, then your 2 + 2 can't help you.
Give it up for Sammy Shelton. Judges, let's see what you have. Hold them up. 3, 2, 1. We have an 8.1, an 8.5, an 8.9, a 9.0, and a 9.3. Applaud the poet. Woo! And keep that applause going. Welcome back up to the stage, Amelia Cafiso.
I look gay. I step out onto this stage, and to your friend you say, oh shit, another lesbian with something to convey. Her clothes are in disarray, and it looks like she chopped her hair yesterday, but let's listen to this queer preach anyway. I look gay. I got rid of my long locks in an act of self-rebellion, and F you to every Tom, Dick, and presumptuous Helen who would dare to tell me that my hair makes me 1 in a million. Now I wouldn't dare to admit that I wake up every morning looking like a hellion. I look gay. I hate how when I walk through the hallway, dozens of assumptions are made on my natural toupee. But if my mane were flowing like an Ardennais, you wouldn't double take, only look away. I look gay. Men buy red spray paint in bulk to draw a target on my mop. They gawk and they stare as if they're the ones to talk. I can hear them whisper in their stupid little flocks, how can you get rid of what makes you hot? I look gay. I was babysitting a little girl the other day when she points up at my do and exclaims that I look like a boy. No way. 5 seconds pass, I don't know what to say, only 2 syllables come out. Okay. I look gay. Part of me regrets cutting my cut. Another part hates that my mind won't shut up. I wish that people would think I'm enough. Why does my identity feel like handcuffs? I look gay. At the ripe age of 12, to my parents, I came out. They never quite understood what all the fuss was about, how every June we run through the streets, we holler and we shout. It was always their fear that I would stand out. I love myself, don't get me wrong. I chose this look is strong. I only wish that men wouldn't stare for so long. What is a woman if she doesn't belong? Thank you.
Give it up for Amelia Cafiso. Judges, let's see what you got. In 3, 2, 1. We have an 8.8, a 9.4, a 9.4, a 9.5, and a 9.5. Applaud the poet! We are halfway through the second round. Please welcome up the sixth poet to the stage, Frankie Diller-Beersley.
Dear Sylvia, I'm sorry about Ted. I'm sorry the woman is only perfected when she is dead. I am sorry you put your head in that oven. People say you didn't mean to do it, that sealing up the room with wet towels to keep the gas in was an accident. Like the sleeping pills before that, and driving your car off the road before that, and leaving a note in book form. And here we are, your accidental daughters, singing your song. Whether you know it or not, whether we know it or not, we are your legacy, placing pink bows over the violence, lines on wrists, mistaken for poetry. In 7th grade, my friends decide 13 years are enough for them. One day I'm braiding their hair, the next they're talking about pills, razors, bathtubs, and I tell Sylvia, I tell my parents my friends are hurting themselves. My friends dump me, of course, because I can't just let death be beautiful, because I can't just let death be romantic. Dying is an art, you said. You did it well. You did it so it felt like hell. Well, living is an art too. Dear Sylvia, I am sorry for what you missed. The ocean you never got to live by. The children you left behind, the grandchildren you never got to meet, the poems you left unwritten, the park bench you didn't sit on watching April petals blow like snow. Living is an art. I do it well. I have room in me for the love you always needed more of. Living is an art. I do it well. I have friends I love, a boy I love, a life I am trying and learning to love. Living is an art. I do it well. I'm talking about you to your accidental sons and daughters, to your scholars, to people who will Google Sylvia Plath when they get home. Living is an art. I do it well. Dear Sylvia, I promise I will open the jar for you. Thank you.
Give it up for Frankie Diller-Beersley. Judges, let's see what scores you have. Hold them high in 3, 2, 1. We have an 8.9, a 9.2, a 9.5, a 9.6, and a 9.6 for Frankie Diller-Beersley. Applaud the poet. And keep that applaud coming for Iris Gray.
I have a friend who believes the moon beckons our water-filled bodies with the tide, defining our lives with the movement of the stars. It's called astrology. When we were 15, I called out into the cosmic roar, "What's the meaning?" and received no answer. I was a rational being, sprawled before the most irrational of masters. So she read me my horoscope, and I created frameworks to live by. See, growing up, I had no God, so I sang obedience to anything that would listen. In school, I was a piston, a tattletale, and a pet that kept the system's wheels spinning. I could run on nothing but politeness and praise, because the worst thing in the world was falling stray from the path of what I was expected to become. But loving anyone requires living outside those lines. Being polite did not make me good, just contrived. My friend lives every second radically aware of what it means to be alive. She carries overwhelming joy in a pink handbag. In the overwhelming knowledge of this world's constant destination towards death, she acknowledges every breath and never bothers to keep them contained. So when she forgets where she put that pink handbag, she needs someone with overwhelming joy in their bone marrow, whose femur, for her, they will hollow. And it felt like swallowing a stone fruit pit to find the courage to admit, if only to myself, that I was so unequipped. That my bones are brittle with inexperience, that while she was locking away her hurt, the closest thing I had to a key was a pair of pliers. And if knowing the depth of her distress, the echo of sorrow exploring her chest meant processing words pulled through her teeth, it was not worth it. It was not knowledge my 15-year-old self wanted to keep. So I laughed when she said she was praying for mania. I feigned strength, but when I held out my limbs, the only holding they could do was at arm's length. We blamed her sadness on the moon and the stars instead of the far-reaching distance between the desires of the body and the world of money and hierarchy and cars. We said we were wise for our age, but really had just tapped in on an undercurrent of rage that had already been pushed down by our mothers and ignored by our fathers. We said we could be the change, but she was so far ahead on the world stage, had let go of shame, and I was clinging to it. She was that big moon and she was beckoning me, but I was fused to some fisherman's buoy, waiting in the waters of expectation, seasick with trepidation, knowing that when the sun rose, I would still be there. That big moon would slip away and leave the sky dim, and some fisherman pulling me in to his boat would not tell me I was smart. Would not praise my ability to stay afloat, but ask me why I had chosen to coat myself in a current that kept dragging me under, that this was some great plunder because the moon was showing me her mind, wild and wise, and wishing that I would do the same.
Give it up for Iris Gray! Judges! Let's have those scores in 3, 2, 1. We have an 8.9, an 8.9, a 9.0, a 9.2, and a 9.5. Applaud the poet! Keep that excitement going and welcome back up to the stage, Jaslyn Davis.
The cycle. Almost like the sun and the moon, a never-ending cycle. Black boy turned into black man gets fucked by society, he turns into society's norms, he starts selling drugs, he starts doing dope just to feel that rush, to feel that love. White girl becomes white woman, turned into drug addict. Drug after drug, drink after drink, she loves the feeling of being intoxicated. One day the two meet, woman meets man, their two worlds collide and then become intertwined. Drug dealer meets drug fiend. They mix together almost like gumbo, except not as delicious because their creation is me. But they can't even take accountability. Little do they know I will succeed. Grandma takes me, she saves me. I got the call at the age of 6. Your mom has passed due to cancer. Again, at the age of 14, I get the news my grandma died. The one woman who was always by my side, she was my lifeline. Later, at the age of 16, I watched my daddy die right before my eyes. But now I'm alone, but I'm grown. I'm starting to see that my dreams can become reality, building my community up one day at a time. Graduation is on the horizon, and I have my eyes on the prize. God told me to survive, but I will thrive. My parents' story is not mine. My story is full of light and life. My story is mine, and I will shine so bright. I'm breaking the cycle one day at a time, and thing after thing comes to my mind until I realize my life is mine. I look to my side, and my mind remembers the time I would look at my daddy's side, looked him right in the eyes, remembered the ink on his skin. Now I look at the ink on mine, and it reminds me of him. And I can finally recognize I'm the calm that comes before the storm. I'm the waves that hit the ocean. I'm the sunshine after the rain. I'm more than just the rose that grew from concrete, because I'm the whole damn rose bush. Thank you.
Give it up for Jaslyn Davis. Judges, 3 more scores to give me. Starting with this one, hold them up in 3, 2, 1. We have a 9.0, a 9.2, a 9.3, a 9.4, and a 9.5 for Jaslyn Davis. Applaud the poet. And please welcome up to the stage your penultimate poet of the night, Kiana Woods.
January 1st, 1863. Abraham Lincoln issues the Emancipation Proclamation, stating that all persons held as slaves henceforward shall be free. December 6th, 1865. Abraham Lincoln abolishes slavery with the ratification of the 13th Amendment. Now imagine having been chained in shackles for 4 centuries, seeing your brothers and sisters beaten, raped, and killed, and finally, a lovely white man comes along with the key written by freedom. The overwhelming sense of euphoria, bliss, and gratitude. But the white man always harbors a secret, you see. We were not told until June 19th that we were free, and if you ask me, I still see a lot of my black peers shouting to that white man, "Pick me, pick me." And the validation we seek has been embedded so deep that we took the tendencies of thee and beat upon ourselves senselessly. To beat a black child is to instill a runaway slave. I used to tie a bindle on my back and declare my escape. Mind you, this is how we took Master's ways. Meanwhile, he wouldn't dare utter such a wretched name, the same length of the switch you picked to get hit. You see, there are so many parallels to the plantation, and we are not too far from it. And did you make Master proud when you beat that black child, black and blue, and taught him the code switch for Master too? Taught him to haul ass when we laughed, because wasn't shit funny on that plantation? Taught him to love the intestines of a dead pig, because that's all Master fed him. Begging the puppies to hush, because niggas was in a rush. And did you make Master proud when you lined them babies up and told them to fess up or they all get whipped for a crime they didn't commit? Or was it when we created an imaginary cookout, specifically to invite them to, because they're now included in everything we do, knowing salt and pepper just ain't enough. The generation that this confederation has traumatized is tired, passing it down like grandma's ugly jewelry, a worn down hand me, an aggressive ass chest pass. Cut it out. How dare we allow them to conform our nature? And all we did was simply conjure a word to call on our brother without the We are the hope and the descendant of the slave, and today, that shit really shows. But I ain't just blaming us. Look at what they did to us. We simply repeated what we were shown. Y'all should have just left us alone. Our community has transformed into a deep-rooted reflection of what we've endured and overcome, to the point that we've become numb. So I simply ask God to deliver us salvation from these parallels to the plantation. Thank you.
Give it up for Kiana Woods. Judges, hold those scores up high for all of us in 3, 2, 1. We have a 9.3, a 9.6, and a 10, and a 10, and a 10. Applaud the poet. And please, keep that energy up. And welcome back up to the stage, the last poet of the night, Ava Anderson.
You snort when you laugh, air escaping too fast to part your lips in a grin, so instead it escapes through your nose in awkwardness, genuinity, and joy, paired with a humored grimacing. I wish I could bottle up that feeling, however fleeting, in a golden vial of intricacy, untapped, uninsecure, void of worry and happy. So when this crushing weight in my chest pulls my lungs to the floor with so much force, they burst and I can't breathe. That golden vial of happy memories will mend everything, stitch by stitch, seamlessly, until I can't tell there's worry. Just memories of being happy. Like 11 p.m., taking photos of the stars, city lights on the water, the soft hum of cars, plodding down the dock as far as we dared, afraid for someone to catch us, jumpy and unprepared. Spoiler alert, it was public access. But still the exhilarant feeling keeps a grin plastered on our face as we drive home in the dark. In December, we talked until 1:09, the oven stick-like green figures reflecting the time as candy cane remnants boiled on brownies and distraction made the edges a little too crispy. In February, midst of that gray dole, after Valentine's reds, but before the sun paints the skies with brilliant blues that raincoats the world in sparkling hues. I shockingly love this weather. I'll watch raindrops race down the windows forever like a child cheering their favorite one on. I'll watch as they form constellations of stars. Fast forward and I'm screaming in the car. On the first sunny day in March, the cherry blossoms have begun to start blooming. My excitement is overwhelming. We're wearing sunglasses and stockpiles of shorts. It's barely even 64, but we insist that we aren't cold because we finally grabbed a hold of that feeling. It feels like joy. I wish I could grab hold of that feeling. How giggling makes my heart sing. And when I'm writing poetry on the bedroom floor, people watching in the airport, drinking hot spiced chai when it's cold, and at night driving fast with music on blast, it rattles my bones through the stereo. We're laughing so hard my face hurts. Happiness exists in moments like this, even when it doesn't feel like it. You never know what the future holds, the laughs, the jokes, the people, the joy. An intricate vial of sparkling gold. Are all of these stories told? And I'll chug it when this weight in my chest finally falls to the floor and I can't breathe. These memories of being happy and laughing will mend my worry stitch by stitch until I can't tell there's worry left. Just joy. Like when you laugh too hard, you snort.
Give it up for Ava Anderson! Judges! For the last time of the evening, I would love to have you hold those scores up high. In 3, 2, 1, we have an 8.6, an 8.8, an 8.9, an 8.9, and a 9.0 for Ava Anderson. Applaud the poet. And give it up for every poet you heard in this round. Our math wizards are going to gather these scores and tabulate them all together. While they're doing that, I'll share a poem with y'all if that's all right. All right. Go over to this one. That's the chump mic. This is the cool guy mic. The two things. One, the structures and systems that are supposed to take care of us do not take care of us. It is not profitable for them to take care of us. Remember that. And two, remember, all children in this room are all our children. All children outside of this room are all our children. Regardless of what age in their life they may be. Remember that as well. This is for those who remember that very much these days. Let us take a sack of spray paint and spray paint over the paintings. Let us dance through Paris, kiss in the shadow of the Louvre, climb over the bricks to break its windows, to break inside, to scrawl manifestos across the paintings, to chip Morse code at the base of the sculptures, to unroll a sleeping bag to sleep inside of, unfurl everything from before, bury each other inside the other, tell one another stories by flashlight, feed grapes to the ants, light fireworks in the fists of sleeping kings, kill a monarch, break back outside, find a wall to do these things to, up, and upon, against, break the bricks, climb over them, and when the sirens scream, laugh loud, hold my hand, and run fast. Run through these streets with me with a bunch of bottles, a bucket of gasoline, a mouthful of matches, and a pocket full of paintings for a fresh-faced batch of police to chase the fires we are lighting with a laugh and a shoulder of gold and a thought that the museums are simply hallways that we stretch to pay the dead to hold what we once have so we can walk through what we once were, where children take their skulls to turn into gardens to pluck for far fathers and farther stars that on some nights resemble our armless mothers praying for their arms to return, where every giggle is filled with lust. Let us laugh this night away, and I will clasp my lips across you like a prayer that could save me by having my mouth wrapped around you, and I will hold you afterwards like you were the pulpit and I was the sky, and this love that danced between that hardness was a telephone line of holiness that these two things spoke through. Take me into your heart like I was a saint and you were a face blooming in a valley destined to sink further. Be a river with me, be the storm, be the bend in the path, the heat in the south, the heat in the boot. Be a boot full of banjo strings, a fistful of unwritten songs, a mouthful of chocolate dust. When they come to take us, stab them between the eyes. Do not take your hand from around mine. Make a fist with the other and punch spines like guilt. Spit, swear, kiss them like a grandmother. Howl, open mouth, terror, love filled. And when they come to tie us down, to strap us in, to shave our hair and ask to hear penance come from inside of us, you say with me loud and trembling, but loud and clear, I have already emptied myself. I have emptied myself. I took the hands of other backwards angels and rode backwards into the rain, watching our footsteps gallop away behind us. When the hangman of tomorrow comes to hang the sun in its daily execution, say this with me. Our love, it is an apple. My heart is an arrow. I'm unbuttoning my shirt, painting a circle over my heart, a circle over my chest. Please, just shoot straight. Thank you. Math wizards, do we have these scores all accounted for? Olivia and Andrew returning to the stage. Before I announce these, please, I would love everyone to give a round of applause to our tireless judges. This is a hard task, and y'all did it wonderfully. Thank you. Thank you. And please give a round of applause for every poet, every poem that you heard tonight under this roof. It is a gift to hear this, to hear these words from these people tonight. So, without further ado, in 5th place, we have Iris Gray. In 4th, we have Amelia Cafiso. In 3rd place, Jaslyn Davis. In second, Frankie Diller Beersley. And your 2024 Verselandia first place winner, grand champion is Kiana Woods. Verselandia 2024 winners! Audience, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. Be gentle with yourselves and each other. See you next year.